Okay, so imagine for a second that you're holding a stack of paper. It's heavy, it's a little dusty, maybe smells like an old attic. And to the naked eye, it just looks like a niche newsletter for some hobbyist club. But as you start turning the pages, you realize you're not just looking at meeting minutes. You're holding a cross-section of a secret society.
And a very specific cross-section at a very, very specific moment in time.
Exactly. Today, we are doing a deep dive into the Linking Ring. This is the official publication of the International Brotherhood of Magicians.
Right.
And we're specifically looking at a stack of issues from all throughout the year 1939. And before you think this is just going to be a dry list of card tricks, let me stop you right there.
Oh, it's so much more than that. I mean, when you really dig into these documents, you realize you're basically looking at the social media feed of 1939.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Seriously, think about it. It's got Facebook groups, it's got Twitter wars, LinkedIn updates, but it's all played out on paper, mailed out once a month to thousands of people.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to peel back the curtain on what magic culture actually looked like right on the brink of World War II. We have everything in here. Heated political debates, obituaries, even surprisingly detailed notes on what they ate for dinner.
And I think the most important part is the who. These aren't just professional stage performers. No, these are doctors, judges, newspaper editors.
Prominent members of society.
Exactly, leading these incredible double lives. By day, they're, performing surgery, and by night, they're in a tuxedo building a miniature theater in their basement. It's wild.
It really challenges the whole stereotype. So to get a handle on this global brotherhood, I think we have to start small. We need to look at what was happening at the local level. And the sources gave us a perfect case study with a group called Ring 44.
Ah, Ring 44. Yeah, they're fascinating. This is the local chapter in Rhode Island, so Providence, Pawtucket area.
Yeah.
And the reason they're so great for us is just the sheer level of detail in their reports.
They didn't just write, "We met on Tuesday."
No, not at all. They chronicled, the heartbeat of the club, the personalities, all the weird little moments.
So let's talk about those characters, because they feel like they stepped right out of a novel.
Yeah.
You've got the president, Bill Chatterley. And from the descriptions, he sounds like just pure chaotic energy.
Energetic is definitely the word. Chatterley is that side of magic that loves the gadgets, the mechanics. He's an engineer. He wasn't just doing card tricks. He was building these complex props.
Like the Phantom Radio.
Yes! The Phantom Radio trick, which is just a wild visual.
So, okay, try to picture this. Chatterley is on stage. He's got a radio, and it's blaring music, specifically the song The Umbrella Man.
A big hit at the time.
Right. He's dancing around with it. He covers this loud radio with a cloth, walks forward, and then just lets the cloth drop.
And the radio is gone, vanished. The only thing left is the electrical plug, which just clatters to the floor.
That tells you these guys were building serious props in their garages. They were inventors.
Totally. But Chatterley is just one type of magician. Then you have the next president, William E. Baker.
Or Baker the Faker, as he liked to be called.
Baker represents the more immersive side of the hobby. He didn't just do tricks in his living room. He built a dedicated space, Baker's Miniature Theater, at his home.
Which is a level of commitment that's way beyond a casual hobby. This was their third place, You have work, you have home, and then you have the miniature theater.
Exactly. It was a real escape. But for me, the most telling character in Ring 44 is the elder statesman, Uncle John Davison.
Ah, yes.
He's a former international president, super respected. But by 1939, it's clear from the reports that he's physically declining.
There's a very specific, almost sad detail in there about his health.
Yeah, it says his right arm is crippled with arthritis. And for a magician, your hands are everything. But the report says he couldn't do the sleight of hand anymore. So instead, he used his left-hand magnetism.
Left-hand magnetism. I love that.
Isn't it beautiful? He performed his famous brooming rosebush trick. It's an illusion. It's not about finger speed. It's about presentation and style. And it just shows that the community valued showmanship and history just as much as pure technical skill. They revered him.
And that sense of community, it really extends to the families. That was my biggest surprise from the Ring 44 notes. I was expecting, smoke-filled rooms, guys in tuxedos, a real boys' club.
It was the opposite. These were family events. The sources are full of references to the wives, the children. You have Mrs. Baker baking a cake with 100 candles on it. It's incredibly wholesome.
Which brings us to the shore dinner. This event sounds like the ultimate 1939 party.
It really does. You have to imagine it, a classic New England clam bake. But then you've got egg rolling contests.
Marshmallow eating contests while blindfolded.
Right. But there's that one little detail in the report about the dinner that really stood out.
The dry rule.
The dry rule. The report goes out of its way to say there was an entire absence of liquor or beer. And it adds, not a breath gave evidence of drinking, yet everyone had a great time.
So why emphasize that so much? Was it like a leftover from Prohibition?
Well, Prohibition had ended a few years before, but you have to remember that magic was trying to clean up its image. For a long time, it was associated with carnivals, gambling, scams.
Right.
These guys, judges, doctors, were trying to elevate it. They wanted to prove that you could be a respectable, upstanding citizen and a magician. Being explicitly sober was a way of signaling class.
That makes perfect sense. We aren't con artists, we are gentlemen.
Exactly.
And speaking of gentlemen, let's talk about the gift they gave the retiring president. A wand.
But not just any wand. This was made of lignum vitae. That's one of the hardest, densest woods on Earth. It sinks in water. And it had a silver serpent coiled around it.
It sounds like an artifact from a fantasy novel.
It's a totem of respect. Okay, so we've established the social scene. It's respectable, family-friendly, organized. But we have to talk about the actual magic. What would you see on stage in 1939?
Well, I think the average person would just assume rabbits, top hats and white rabbits.
And you would be wrong. According to these issues, 1939 was, without a doubt, the year of the guinea pig.
They are everywhere in this text. Why guinea pigs?
It's just a trend. Rabbits can be difficult, they kick, they scratch. Guinea pigs are smaller, they're more docile, and they fit into tighter spaces.
And we have Everett Ingram performing a trick called meat pie.
Yeah, this is a classic comedy routine. The magician is pretending to bake a pie on stage, but he messes up the ingredients. At the end, instead of a pie, he opens the pan and produces a live guinea pig.
And Bill Baker, our guy with the theater, he was doing it too.
He did a trick where he'd break a glass bottle, and inside the bottle is a guinea pig with a borrowed ring around its neck.
That sounds technically difficult, and maybe a little dangerous for the guinea pig.
Animal welfare standards were certainly different, but it shows that livestock production, making live animals appear, was a huge part of the show. It was real, visceral.
But it wasn't all animals. There was a lot of mental work. I was surprised by how much math was involved in the mentalism acts.
Oh, mentalism was huge. You have guys like Mystic Wallace, the man with the miracle mind.
What's his act?
It was an intellectual feat. He'd be blindfolded, the audience would call out rows of numbers, he'd write them on a slate, subtract them, add them all up, all from memory.
And another guy, Bill Wallace, was memorizing 25 numbers forward and backward.
It tells you something about the audience. In 1939, people found the power of the human mind just as amazing as a flash of fire. They were fascinated with human potential.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the fads. We have to talk about Clippo.
Ah, Clippo, the fidget spinner of 1939.
What even is it?
It's a cut and restored paper trick. You take a strip of paper, you cut it in half, and then it magically heals itself. It's a simple little commercial trick you could buy at a shop.
And the reports show everyone was doing it.
Armin Landry, Bob Graham.
Yeah.
It's listed over and over. It shows that even back then, magicians were consumers. They bought the hot new thing, did it for a few months, and then moved on.
Just like a TikTok trend.
Oh.
Okay, so we've covered the fun stuff. But the sources also show that this brotherhood wasn't always so brotherly. There was drama.
Oh, yeah. High-stakes drama. We have to talk about the convention wars.
This is a major thread running through all the 1939 issues.
Yeah.
It feels like a civil war was brewing. What was the conflict?
It's a classic East Coast versus the Heartland. The big annual convention was always being held in the Midwest, specifically Battle Creek, Michigan.
Which was drawing record crowds, right?
It was. But the magicians in New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, they felt alienated. I mean, travel in 1939 wasn't easy. Going to Michigan was a huge expense and time commitment for them.
And we have this article by Alden I. Dillenbach, More or Less Conventions. He sounds so frustrated.
He's leading the rebellion. The Eastern groups were basically threatening to secede. They were saying, if you don't give us a convention closer to home, we will form our own alliance.
It's a total power struggle. It shows that despite the Brotherhood name, regionalism was a huge divider. Money and geography dictated everything.
And while the bigwigs were fighting over cities, you had the petty sniping down in the gossip columns.
On the pan.
Yes. This column is written by an anonymous author signed only as unknown.
This guy is the original internet troll.
Absolutely. He opens his column by proudly claiming he writes the only universally unpopular column in magic. He's looking for a fight.
He takes a shot at a book collector, calling him a pseudo-book collector from a Boston way.
Spelling it Bawston. He's mocking the accent. It's just proof that toxic fandom is not a new invention. These guys were throwing shade through the Postal Service 80 years ago.
But to balance that toxicity, the sources also shows the complete opposite extreme, the International Correspondence Circle.
Yeah, this is the most heartwarming part of the whole thing. You see these lists of names and addresses, a lot of them teenagers who just want a pen pal.
And the reach is global.
It's incredible. We have names from Tanganyika territory in East Africa, France, Japan, India, New Zealand.
It really reinforces that whole idea of a brotherhood. You have a kid in Rhode Island connecting with a kid in East Africa over this shared love of secrets.
It gave them a shared language. And that brings us back to who these people actually were. The biographies in these issues are just astounding. The double lives are real.
Let's go back to Alden Dillenbach, the guy from the Convention War. His backstory is just wild.
Unexpected is the word. The source just casually mentions that Dillenbach is a descendant of a Baron von Weibnum. And because of that, he's the direct heir to an unclaimed estate in Germany.
And the value of that estate?
They listed at $60 million.
$60 million. In 1939 currency. That is an insane amount of money.
It's empire-building wealth. And yet, what's he doing with his time? He's organizing magic shows in Massachusetts and perfecting his flower cone production. The passion for magic just superseded everything.
It really does.
Yeah.
And then you have Frank W. Carter.
The judge. On the bench for 19 years. A very serious man of the law. But his passion was collecting novelty musical instruments.
He had 57 of them.
57. Imagine going to the judge's house for a serious dinner, and he breaks out a one-man band performance in his basement theater.
Then you've got Dr. Kenneth Lowry, a prominent surgeon.
His story is so relatable. He went into a magic shop to buy a trick for his younger brother. He bought the trick for the brother, but then, as the text says, he bought quite a few for himself.
The classic asking for a friend that turns into a lifelong obsession.
And at the very top, you have Carl W. Jones. He was the publisher of the Minneapolis Journal, a real media mogul.
And he used that power for magic.
He published Greater Magic, this massive 1,000-page book. The sources call it a monument of perpetual endurance. He literally used his industrial printing presses to preserve card tricks for the future.
But 1939 was also an end of an era for some. We have to mention the obituary of Nate Leipzig.
A really sad moment for the community. Leipzig died in October on Friday the 13th.
Which is a bit spooky for a magician.
The obituary calls him the suavest of intimate card experts. And there's this beautiful little anecdote. He's at a magic shop in New York. He takes 5 ordinary toothpicks, and right under the observer's nose, he makes them vanish one by one.
No boxes, no rabbits, just toothpicks and pure skill.
The observer notes it wasn't just the mystery, it was the technical skill and artistry. And that reminds us that for the judge, the surgeon, the heir, magic wasn't a distraction. It was an art form.
So when you step back and look at this whole stack of newsletters, the guinea pigs, the politics, the pen pals, what's the big picture?
I think the linking ring served the exact same function that the internet does today. It connected a surgeon in Ohio with a judge in Wisconsin and a potential millionaire in Massachusetts. It gave them a tribe.
It validated them.
Exactly. If you're a grown man in 1939 spending your nights practicing how to hide a coin, your neighbors might think you're a little eccentric. But then you open this magazine and you see thousands of other successful, intelligent people doing the exact same thing. And you realize, I'm not crazy. This matters.
And honestly, the technology changes. Chatterley's Phantom Radio would be an app today, but the sociology is identical. The shore dinner, the gossip column, the desire to amaze your friends. That hasn't changed at all.
It's the human need for wonder and for community.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last thought. It's something that really stuck with me from that International Correspondence Circle section.
The pen pals.
Right. In these 1939 issues, you see the names and addresses for children in Japan and France and Germany, and they're all asking for letters. They want to swap photos of their magic tricks.
It's a snapshot of innocence.
It is, because we're reading this from the future. We know what happens in 1940 and 1941. We know that the world those pen pals were living in was about to completely break apart.
It's a haunting reminder. These newsletters captured the very last moments of that global connection right before the silence set in.
A time capsule indeed. Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll see you on the next one.